Hey guys, and welcome back to another war video. So we are taking on the Last Assassin's Wrath or Law, and this is War 4 of Season 19. So far in the season, we are 1 and 2 in D69. We have 2 deaths on the season, and we got a little bit of a mismatch. So of course, prior to this war, our last 2 matchups have been NY followed by New Nation. So there was absolutely zero chance that we would win either of those wars. So we're just trying to avenge ourselves a little bit here. But yeah, we're going Path 5, Section 1. Then we're going to go left and take that Guillotine with Colossus and Medusa. And then I'm actually also going to try that Void. And then we have this Man-Thing on Stunning Reflection. Plus they place with Stubborn. This alliance didn't have a rank 3 6-star Doom, so they decided to place a 565. Honestly, if you're gonna place a 565 on Stubborn Boss, probably not the best idea for it to be Doom, just because he's extremely easily soloed, as we do have video of the boss in this fight. But yeah, we're taking in a team of probably the 3 champs that I can play most comfortably in the game. Probably not like the number 3 ones, but 3 champs I can play pretty well. The only other one that I would put up at that high tier would probably be either Sentinel or Ghost. They're my 2 other champs I'm extremely comfortable with. But yeah, a very simple fight here. So we're using our 6-hour boost, and we're going up against this Mysterio. So only 84,000 health. It's a rank 1 6-star, and this is Ebb and Flow knockdown. I almost said Aegis knockdown for a second, but Aegis is gone now, or Aegis, or however you say it. So yeah, we're just starting with some heavies. And the goal in this fight, the reason I didn't heavy there is because I'm trying to make sure he never throws a single L1. There I knew the timing was coming around, so I didn't go for the heavy attack. But whenever he has a bar power, I just simply block and he'll never throw it. But since we have that synergy with magic, what it actually does for Warlock is it decreases the power that the opponent gets from any specials by 50 or 70%, is it? I'm not sure. And then for magic, of course, it gives her a 70% increase in damage while in limbo, which is just an insane synergy that's so broken, but I love it. But yeah, now we're going for Ebb and Flow knockdown magic, and magic is probably the best option for this fight. I can see someone justifying using Quake over magic here, but what the plan is just to get her power locked first. Luckily, you don't get a limbo activation on the first bar of power, but I am going to get one right here on the second activation. We just lost 3% from the first limbo from her special attack. But yeah, we're losing a decent amount of health. We just want to power lock her as soon as possible. We knock her down there, and my goal here is to just get to 1 L2 by the time the timer ends up finishing and she ends up restoring. And since there is also heavy hitter on this node, we can't obviously deal with that L1 the same way, or the heavy attack the same way. You can't punish it. We did unfortunately have to push her to another bar power to get to our own L2 because our stun got shrugged off. But 2 more L2s and this fight's over. We lost a third of our health to limbo damage, but otherwise I can't see how it's physically possible to have played that fight a little better. Now we're going to this Sorcerer Supreme on the mini-boss node, and you'll notice we are taking it linked with Strike Back, and the reason we're taking it linked is because after I throw my L2, even if the opponent's power gains, Strike Back still gives a bar of power, but then you just drain it right away. So all Strike Back does is, after throwing an L2 and the opponent has 0 power, rather than give you no power, it just gives you a bar power so you can parry when you activate Limbo. And since my magic Sig 200, that's a 50% chance. And I'd rather have a 50% chance to activate Limbo than a 0% chance to activate Limbo while I'm blocking, just to minimize the tiniest extra bit of damage. But yeah, we're just going in with magic here, still have those boosts up, obviously. This is a very, very straightforward fight. I believe she's actually going to throw an L1 before I can power lock her. And you will see in the last video I posted, I think it was War 1 of the season. I can't be 100% sure. Not like the last video. I do get power drain there, unfortunately, but we just got to get to our L2 one more time. And in that last video, I did fully evade her L1, and I'm about 95% confident with it. So you'll see right there, she's at an L1. I throw my L2, and she gets to an L2, then back to an L1. So it actually doesn't take away any power, but it does power lock, and that's exactly what you want against Magic. The only time it takes away power is when the opponent's already at an L3 against Strike Back. But yeah, 1 minute fight, a very straightforward Magic fight. That maybe could have gone a little better, but due to my indestructible boost, I didn't take any damage. I got one hit that I took damage from. The video today also refused to be merged, so it's just going to be in a few separate clips, but you guys don't care about that, right? Now we'll go up against this Guillotine 2099 on EMP modification, and I think Guillotine is not, in fact, a Stubborn Defender. Not that it matters. We're just going to be using one level 2 potion here, and then we're going up against her with Magic, and it's a very straightforward fight. I took this in War 3 on the unblockable regen node, which was against New Nation, and I'm literally using an identical strategy here. So L1 boost, and all I have to do is throw my L2 before she can throw an L1, and a heavy attack every time that the timer is about to run out. So right here, I do that. Just to knock her down to make sure she never has her miss. As long as you consistently knock her down, there's nothing hard about this fight. So we are just intercepting her in the corner. I knew that an L2 there probably would have knocked her down at the correct timing, and it would have been the first hit. But I was just taking 0 risks, simply, and it worked out there. So, yeah, 30% health. This is a very simple fight. Unlike the last node, I can parry while she has the regen up, rather than just letting her regen a bit. But it's just honestly not very significant how much you regen, how much she regens in the fight. So she's still going to go down in 1 minute exactly. So she dies from the limbo damage there. So very clean fight, and the next fight is anything but clean. We're going to start off with a huge blunder. I had a plan going into this fight. This is the one fight that I'm going to have to build up Guillotine. Technically, I could also have built her up on this next Medusa, but I'd rather do it with class advantage than class disadvantage. But honestly, the nodes are equally hard, so it wouldn't make a difference. So yeah, I think it's Chitinous Charge. It might be Chitinous Charge. I'm not sure. So he actually starts out with heavy attack, and I was just not expecting that. I expected to parry, so I ate it, but I only lost 9% health. So with those, the Chitinous Charge or Chitinous Charge, whatever it is, you just have to bring in a bleed immune. That's literally it. As long if the opponent ever has a chance to get an armor up, just bring in a bleed immune, and there's nothing to this node. So yeah, just a very long fight. So I'm not going to show this full fight. I'm just going to skip ahead on it. So obviously you see I'm just playing regular Guillotine till they get down low. Colossus is a Stubborn Defender, but I honestly think that doesn't matter because he's not hard at all. So there you see we're getting him down. I'll show this last bit. He throws an unblockable L2. Earlier in the fight, if you notice while I was speeding up, what I actually did is I would parry the second hit of his L1 because it actually does less damage than his medium attack, and that is the most efficient way while surviving with a lot of health to remove Stubborn after you dex by accident on the first hit of the L1 or while you're trying to bait out the L1 versus Colossus. So now we'll go into this next fight versus Medusa, and I'm going to take this with Magic. Not the best counter in the world, but there's definitely nothing wrong with this counter. I don't believe she benefits from Stubborn. Yes, she does not. And we're not going to heal up here because this is Magic's last fight of the war for now. She's going to get a fight later on, but it's going to be with a different set of boosts, and I would rather heal up when I didn't have boosts because it just benefits me more. than when I am fully boosted. And honestly, I saw no danger in this fight. We intentionally dex the L1 to have a higher chance to crit on that first hit. It doesn't end up helping, but it's worth the risk. And then we are just gonna wait for her Furies to go away. We land a nice L2 here, and I believe this is where we make the mistake. So I'm gonna go in on right here. So I nullify the L1, and then right here, I didn't expect her to get a Fury so fast, so I did 2 hits. She ended up auto-blocking me because of, obviously, the second hit when you have 3 Furies can auto-block. And then from here out, we're just going to throw heavy attacks, and we're going to kill her that way. So very straightforward fight there. So I'll just speed up the last bit, and then I throw 1 heavy attack, got like 3 crits on 1 heavy attack, and she goes down. So now I'll go to the next fight, but before we go to this next fight, I am just going to show a little bit from this last clip here. So there's going to be, right as I load out, there is this Void as a shared mini. So I had 45 minutes left in my boost, so I knew I could take this node with my boost still up. And the link incoming from Hyperion was Power Sting, so every single time that you get a bar of power, you get a Power Sting on you for 6 seconds. However, I was completely unaware that it was a passive debuff. So all of the Power Sting that I'm familiar with in the game, well, I think Wasps is actually a debuff, but that's like brand new. I think that's newer than the Power Sting node. I can't be sure. I actually don't know. But obviously when you think of a Power Sting champ, the first champ most people think of is Yellow Jacket, because that's where the majority of his damage comes from. As a attacker and as a defender, and that's the one reason on unblockable L1 nodes where he is even slightly challenging as a defender. So what I did is I went into this fight with Warlock. There's also 15% buffet on this node, and I parried 5 times to get rid of buffet. But I did get my armor up nullified on Warlock, and then all we did from there out was parry heavy, parry heavy, parry heavy. And I honestly didn't know that Power Sting was a debuff. I thought that it was a passive effect. So what I did is every time I would get the Power Sting on me, since Void's abilities damage you whenever you have any sort of debuff on you, I took massive damage. There's no attack or health increase from the Link anymore. That's a great thing that they introduced to Season 19, because as you can see in the case of that Sorcerer Supreme fight, it actually made that fight easier. And in my head, I thought there's no reason to ever throw a special in this fight using Warlock. So why would I even bother to worry about the Power Sting? And if it had been passive, I would have been right. I would have won this fight with my eyes closed. And the only time I would have adjusted my parry heavy strat is obviously when his timer's coming around for the intimidating debuffs. But yes, needless to say, we died to this node. I was able to get to my L3 by going parry heavy only. And from the L1 to the L3, that's 3 debuffs, and each one was taking off like 25% of my health. So after those 3 were gone, I was left with 25% health, which was insane because I was fully boosted. I was really shocked at how much the debuffs were doing. There might be a node on this, I think, the passive damage, but I just don't really know. But yeah, needless to say, we got this boss down. We took off 30% of his health, and then I did take 2 hits, and that was enough to kill me, which was very unfortunate. Not the greatest death, but the guy that was on Path 2 was just not available, and with the way the paths were going to work, the guy on Path 1 and Path 2 had to take some minis, and I wanted them to go first, so I thought I would do my best to clear. The guy on Path 1 was able to clear up with Void, who he actually did take him with the Link, but since Void has a massive health pool and Warlock is definitely not as good as Void in that way, he was just able to win the fight. So, unfortunately, a death there that puts us 3 deaths on the season. Now we'll go up against this Man-Thing. So you did see that I put a reminder to put on Dex and parry after this fight, as well as full suicides. Shout out to Lizer. I've actually seen her do that in her videos. Like she puts a reminder in the battle group war chat in game, and I just thought that was a cool idea, so I decided to do it. So I am going to heal up my magic to full and my guillotine to full before I start my fights here. In hindsight, didn't need either of those. As you guys see, the fight I used guillotine for and the fight I used magic for, I end with a very high percent. Actually, I don't end up with a lot of health after the Man-Thing fight with guillotine, but I end with so much more than I needed. So yeah, we're going to throw on the full boost, and I am using the second level, so I actually calculated how much loyalty and units I used. I also did a complete revamp of all of my masteries for this one fight. So I took off Dex and Parry for this fight, and then I redid all 3 of my mastery trees, and that cost me over 200 units, as well as about 20,000 loyalty for the boosts. And then the boosts as well cost an additional 200 units. So yeah, not great. Obviously they were ones I got from the events, so they didn't technically cost units, but since their value is that amount of units, that's just what I'm gonna say. So yeah, up against this fight, this is Stunning Reflection. And there's also increased stun duration, and there's not really much to say about this fight. I throw on my guaranteed crit as well as my power drain, but the power drain's actually not going to work because it only works if you have your armor up enough. Your armor up buff on you, and since this guy has all of those armor breaks with the nullifies, and also poisons, but Guillotine 2099 is poison immune, we're going to constantly be getting our armor up nullified, so we can't use it in this fight. So the way to fight Man-Thing on this node is to just bait out the heavy twice. We are getting the power gain on our medium, I believe. Actually, I may have been wrong about that. And you'll see just how fast he is melting. So he is getting those regens on his special 1 and special 2 when he throws it. There I accidentally did a dash back with the special intercept, not intentional, but right there I thought his special was over. I always thought it was 2 hits, but I guess it's 3 hits, the special 2, but we get that fight done with a very comfortable amount of health. So now we had someone go in and clear this Starkey, and then we also had someone go up and fight this Taut Link. There was a Killmonger on that node, and one of our other Magic players took it well. Now, just a second to talk about this. Actually, you know what? I'll do it while the fight's playing. I was actually scheduled this Doom boss, so right from the start when our leader made the pass, he said Dinter is taking this Doom boss. But one other person in the battleground was bringing Magic and Warlock just for their regular paths. So without telling me, they actually made the decision to go into this fight. They never communicated it to anyone. He never put it in the battle group chat or the battleground chat. And I don't know. Unfortunately, he ended up dying. He did send me the video, and he just made a few mistakes. He used an L1 boost, which I didn't end up using. I don't think that this fight warrants the need of that boost. All you have to do is dex his special one once or twice, and it is the easiest in the world. We are down to 63%, but that's all from block damage or the suicides. And I don't believe I miss a single parry or get hit this entire fight. There's not that much to say about it. Also, I don't want to make it seem like I'm blaming this guy for dying. I have no problem with other people practicing against the bosses for when we see a rank 3 level 45, because not all of us have identical rosters, even though we both have those 2 champions. So maybe he has to take a 345 Doom boss at one time. But at the moment, if we were assigned one and it worked out for the paths, it would at least likely be making it. But honestly, the other 2 guys that have done it The only reason that they probably might not get it is because they have a little less experience fighting Doom on Stubborn than I do, and I'm also the one that has not died yet to a Stubborn Doom boss. But they're both extremely capable. It's not like I'm saying they're bad players. They're both great Magic players, and I'm confident that either of them could get the solo if they just made a plan for the fight and executed that plan. Like every time I think about how I'm going to play a fight, I have a plan in my head. And after seeing these videos of the success, maybe that will help them solo it. So yeah. Maybe we'll see a 345 Doom boss solo for me this season, but we just haven't seen a Doom boss yet. We've seen one, and we decided to use, was it Human Torch? I can't be 100% sure. But yeah, we easily took down Last Assassin's Wrath. They left up a ton of nodes, which is great for our extra points. I ended up getting second MVP with 8 attacker kills. So yeah, that's going to be it for this war. We did take home W, which means we are 2-2 on the season, and we have 3 deaths. So we are currently on pace for 9 deaths this season. But what my goal is I want to have 6 or less. So last 2 seasons have been 7. The season before that was 2 deaths. But I want 6 or less. And also our PSR, since we took 9 fights and we won 8 of them, it increases to 25 out of 28, which is one, just like last war, 89%. So that's very unfortunate that it's not going up. But if it's a war, it's not gonna go up. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I will see you guys in War 5, which will likely be uploaded the same day as this one is. I'm not